What is up, everybody? This is Tyler, aka GrandLethal16, coming at you with another GrandLethal16 show. We're going to be talking a little bit more about JRPGs than last time, and we're going to start by giving a shout out to Octopath Traveler, which actually topped the sales charts and became the top-selling video game of July 2018, which is something I love to see because, again, I feel that JRPGs do not get the love they deserve, and so I love to see when they get all of that attention, especially after the prior year seeing Persona 5 get massive sales and a lot of attention, to the point that Atlas needed to tell people, hey, you can't stream past a certain point in our game because we don't want you to spoil it. A lot of people are looking at getting this. Don't mess with it. All of this kind of trends off a bigger thing I'm noticing, and that's that people really want to mess with the traditional JRPGs again. Final Fantasy VII is getting a remake. We've got Bravely Default, and we've got Bravely Second, which sold really well on the 3DS. A lot of these games that follow old Final Fantasy formats or harken back to older PS1 or Genesis or Saturn JRPGs, things like that. Also, Fire Emblems After Awakening have really made a comeback as well. Some of it could be because of the stylization, and I can't imagine all these people played Fire Emblem games for a long time. But you know, a lot of pro JRPG sentiments, and I love to see that because I'd love to see JRPGs get more attention from mainstream gamers and see all of those opinions and all of those fans really come bring more to the discourse and help fuel new concepts and get away from the common tropes, which, while I love, have been a little played out in JRPGs. So if there are more people buying them, I think it will really help to grow the industry and the subgenre in a lot of different ways, which is something I'm really hoping for. By the way, if you love this video, if you love anything else that I talk about during it, feel free to hit that like button. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about in the future, throw it in the comments. And of course, hit the subscribe and that notification bell so you know every time I put out another one of these GrandLethal16 shows. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Gamescom. We're going to get a little away from JRPGs for a minute. Gamescom did something I really liked. They showed... Gamescom is a video game convention in Germany, in case you don't know, and they showed some more footage of Devil May Cry 5. Now, you may not know this because I don't stream Devil May Cry 5, and I haven't streamed any Devil May Cry game, but I really love Devil May Cry. I love the combos, even though I kind of suck at them. I love the general plots, and I love the narrative duality that comes up in Devil May Cry 3 with Nero and Dante, and just seeing how they develop. I'm not a big fan of DMC. I think I bought a copy once upon a time, but I gave it away because I just wasn't feeling it. But I really do love Devil May Cry 5. You've probably seen me interview a couple people who did voices in the games, including Johnny Young Bosch, who's the voice of Nero. So when I saw the trailer back at E3, I freaked out. I blew up on Twitter, you know, with all my thoughts on it. I bugged a ton of friends, said, you got to get this game. We all got to stream this when it comes out. But yeah, so they put out a new trailer, and sure enough, with a lot of things that I put in some early speculations on the internet, Dante is back. He does have the motorcycle. This is going to be post Devil May Cry 2. I'm like 99% sure now that's what's going on. And so the thing that I noticed on Dante's side, I'm going to cover Dante because there's very few new details. His motorcycle turns into like a dual-wielded set of chainsaw blades. It kind of reminds me... the only other person I can see who's ever weaponized a motorcycle is Snow in Final Fantasy 13, and who wants to really count that? But yeah, he literally splits it into two and has these chainsaw blade wheels, kind of like the chainsaws you get in Gears of War. So I think that's pretty awesome. Hush up. That is awesome. Hush up. All right. Sorry, the dog doesn't agree with me for some reason or another. I think he liked the nunchucks better from back in the day. The other thing that really looked really cool in it, that I noticed from watching some of the Gamescom trailer gameplay footage, was Nero can stock, I want to say, 4 of his robotic arms. So as opposed to just having one robotic arm that he uses the same way as the Devil Bringer from back in the day, the Devil Breaker, he can have different versions of the weapon that do different things. For example, you may have seen him shoot a laser. He has this laser that he can shoot from one of the arms when he has a meter filled, and he has that option. And then there are other arms that can do different things as well. So that's just something that I'm thinking looks really cool right now. The other thing that really stood out to me was when I said that he could surf on rockets before, like Dante did back in the day. I was wrong. He actually shot his robotic arm like a rocket or a missile, and then was surfing on that in the air. So it was his robotic arm. It wasn't an explicit missile per se. Also, let's see, was there anything else that I really missed on his side? They showed some kind of boss. I'm guessing it's the first boss, the equivalent of the fire sword demon back in Devil May Cry 4. I'm really not ecstatic they showed a whole boss battle. I think that kind of ruins some of the surprise, but I can get behind it. I understand they probably just wanted to show something that had a lot of spectacle to it. So I definitely, I get that. And yeah, a couple other things I noticed about Nero's robotic arm. He can stock up to 4 of them, and it looks like when he uses them, he either picks them up afterwards, kind of like dropped ammo from a bow and arrow in like a Far Cry or a rebooted Tomb Raider game, or maybe he just finds them periodically within the stages. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that the arms have slightly different tweaked things. So they have different special like overdrive attacks, or I don't know if they'd be devil trigger attacks. But they also have different special characteristics. Like I believe one of them has increased, maybe an extra air jump or increased maneuverability and dodge abilities aerially speaking. And another one might have like longer range for grabbing an enemy and pulling it towards you. I can't remember what the other ones were. I just glanced at it really shortly. I'm going to go back and watch the video again, and I'll have more information at that point. But there's a lot of different things. So I know there's at least 2 different arm forms. I thought they'd just be simple adding moves or adding different functionality. I didn't know there'd be unique ones that give different options as you swap between them, which brings another element of strategy and planning. So if you know you have a certain kind of boss or certain kinds of enemies you're facing a stage, maybe you'll stock up on a certain kind that'll give you an added edge or advantage against them. So seeing the potential for more strategy there is really cool. Now I could be wrong. I'm just speculating, but I think that might be where they're going with it. And then the final thing, I saw some footage. I don't know where it came from. I saw it might be leaked because there's no audio on it, but I saw it on YouTube. And it shows Nero get attacked by the person who steals his original Devil Bringer. He's working on a car. I know that Nico, his mechanic who works on his robotic arms, is there. She leaves the room, and then the person kind of sneaks up on him, catches him off guard, and like rips his arm off or cuts it off or something. And then so they rip the arm off, and then Nero's like hurt over on the side over there. And then you see them either absorb the arm or the arm goes away, and then you see them get the Yamato out of it, and then like cut twice to like open a portal with it and like get out of there. And I think it's Virgil. I don't know what they're planning with that. I don't really remember Virgil's disposition from the end of Devil May Cry 3 and where it could have gone since then. I don't know if he was exposed to Dante post Devil May Cry 2 and if anything changed with his disposition, but it seems like, I'm just speculating here, it seems like Virgil might have cut off his son's arm, taken it with him, and taken the sword back. Well, you know, whether or not that's true is remains to be seen, but it's something I'm really curious about. Seeing more on the development of that really adds some depth when you bring back Virgil. It really gives us the opportunity to take Nero's development a whole lot of different ways, and also see how Dante reacts to having his brother back potentially. So that could be some really good stuff. That could be pretty cool. The final thing I'm going to bring up in this episode is The Last Remnant. It's a game by Squaresoft. I played it a while back on the Xbox 360. Didn't make the biggest impression on me. It was an okay game, but I wasn't super pumped by it. It's getting delisted off Steam, so I'm not sure exactly why. I'm guessing maybe low sales. Maybe not low sales, but low comparable sales, or maybe it's projected not to make enough, and Square pays a certain amount for listing games on Steam. Again, these are all speculations. I don't exactly understand what publishers pay Steam, if it's a flat rate or if it depends based on the number of downloads they get or so on and so forth. So again, I'm just speculating here. But I did find that it did have 800,000 copies sold on Steam of The Last Remnant. I'll have to compare that to other games from publishers to see how big or little that stacks up against other big AAA publishers like Square Enix. Let's see, was there anything else that really stood out? It's $10 right now, and then yeah, that could be it. It could be that it has diminishing returns on sales. It's just not worth it. Square has a finite number of listings they can put out, and they have something they want to replace it with that they think will sell a lot better. Or it could be that they just don't think anyone cares about the game anymore, and they don't see any reason to keep it up. Maybe it gets a lot of trolling or something on its respective page and community, and they don't see it as a viable reason to keep it up. Again, I'm just speculating. I'm not really sure. I haven't played Last Remnant since, I want to say, the 360, maybe like 6-7 years ago at a minimum. So I'm not particularly sharp on the game anymore. If you want a copy, you know, pick it up. It's $10. That's not bad. it's a pretty good deal. If I didn't have a physical copy, I'd definitely be picking up a copy just to say, hey, I've got a digital copy of The Last Remnant. I mean, this game isn't even available digitally anymore, but I've got a copy. But yeah, you know, pour a little bit of my water to The Last Remnant. It's been real. We're gonna miss you on Steam, I guess. But yeah, hey, a little bit of news on what's going on in other space. I'm still streaming Final Fantasy VII. I'm about to go back, and I think I'm about to get the Tiny Bronco when I play Final Fantasy VII next. Meet Sid, get him on the party as well. And also, me and Johnny C303 will be putting out another episode of the Digital Shinobi podcast this week. So that's something to look forward to. That'll be episode 7. Listen to it, love it, share it, enjoy it. Tell us what you think, and tell us what you want to hear us discuss on the next one. Thank you so much for listening here. And of course, you know, if you're curious about anything else I'm putting out, any blogs or any discussions, rants, so on and so forth, you can always follow me at twitter.com/GrandLethal16. I'm GrandLethal16 on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. Anywhere there's social media, you'll find me. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Peace.